The world watched in horror. From the bustling cities of Europe to the remote islands of the Pacific, a storm raged. World War II, a conflict of unprecedented scale and savagery, had engulfed the globe. Over 30 countries were drawn into the maelstrom. Millions of soldiers mobilized, their youth sacrificed on distant battlefields, but it wasn't just soldiers who suffered. Civilians bore the brunt of the devastation. Cities were reduced to rubble, families were torn apart, the very fabric of society was ripped asunder. The war's human cost was staggering. Over 60 million lives extinguished, each life lost, a world of possibilities destroyed. The world would never be the same. World War II left an indelible scar on humanity, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the terrible consequences of unchecked hatred. This is the story of that war, a journey through the darkness and despair, the courage and sacrifice that defined a generation, a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of unimaginable horror. The seeds of World War II were sown in the ashes of the First. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to ensure peace, instead bred resentment and instability. Germany, burdened by crippling reparations and territorial losses, became a breeding ground for extremism. Economic hardship gripped the nation. Hyperinflation rendered the German mark worthless. Unemployment soared. People were desperate, disillusioned and vulnerable to the siren song of a charismatic demagogue. In the beer halls of Munich, a disgruntled war veteran named Adolf Hitler found his voice. He channeled the anger and frustration of the German people, blaming their woes on the Treaty of Versailles and the enemies within: Jews, communists and other minorities. His words resonated with a population hungry for someone to blame, someone to lead them out of the darkness. Hitler's National Socialist Nazi Party, with its message of hate and its promises of national restoration, gained traction. Step by step, he consolidated power, dismantling democracy and transforming Germany into a totalitarian state. The world watched with growing unease, unaware of the horrors that awaited. As Hitler's grip on Germany tightened, the world edged closer to the precipice of war. Across Europe and Asia, a clash of ideologies was brewing: fascism, communism and democracy, each vying for dominance. On one side stood the Axis powers, Germany, Italy and Japan, united by their expansionist ambitions and disdain for the existing world order. Germany, fueled by Hitler's desire for Lebensraum, living space, set its sights on Eastern Europe. Italy, under the rule of Benito Mussolini, sought to recreate the glories of the Roman Empire. Japan, a rising military power, aimed to establish dominance in Asia and the Pacific. Arrayed against them were the Allies: Great Britain, France, the United States, the Soviet Union and others. Driven by a mix of self-preservation and a desire to uphold democracy, they found themselves locked in a struggle for global domination. The world held its breath. The fragile peace, already strained to its breaking point, shattered on September 1st, 1939, when German tanks rolled across the Polish border, igniting the deadliest conflict in human history. As the war raged, a horror of unimaginable proportions unfolded under the cover of conflict. Driven by a twisted ideology of racial purity, the Nazi regime embarked on a systematic campaign of extermination, targeting Jews, Roma, homosexuals, the disabled, and anyone deemed undesirable. This was the Holocaust, a genocide that would stain the conscience of humanity forever. Jews were stripped of their rights, their property confiscated, their lives upended. Families were torn apart, deported to concentration camps where they were subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Starvation, disease and forced labor were commonplace. The gas chambers, a chilling symbol of Nazi barbarity, became instruments of mass murder. Millions were systematically exterminated, their bodies disposed of in mass graves or incinerated in crematoria. The air was thick with the stench of death, a constant reminder of the horrors inflicted within those barbed wire fences. The Holocaust stands as a stark warning of the dangers of unchecked hatred and the fragility of human civilization. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit as survivors emerged from the ashes, determined to bear witness to the horrors they endured. Section 5. Turning the tide, glimmers of hope. Years of brutal warfare raged. The Axis powers, initially seemingly unstoppable, overstretched their reach. The tide began to turn. On the Eastern Front, the Battle of Stalingrad became a turning point. The Red Army, fighting with unwavering ferocity, inflicted a crushing defeat on the German war machine. In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway marked a turning point in the naval war. American forces, bolstered by code-breaking intelligence, dealt a decisive blow to the Japanese fleet, crippling their offensive capabilities. On June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, launching the largest amphibious invasion in history. The liberation of Western Europe had begun. These victories came at a tremendous cost. Countless lives were lost, but they marked a turning point in the war, a beacon of hope in the darkness, signaling the eventual defeat of the Axis powers. Section 6. Victory and surrender, the war's end. As the Allied forces advanced, the Nazi regime crumbled from within. Hitler, holed up in his Berlin bunker, realized the war was lost. On April 30th, 1945, he committed suicide, leaving his shattered nation in ruins. On May 8th, 1945, Germany surrendered unconditionally to the Allies. In Europe, the war was over, but in the Pacific, the fighting raged on. Japan, facing imminent defeat, refused to surrender. Then, on August 6, 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan, instantly killing tens of thousands and ushering in the terrifying age of nuclear warfare. 3 days later, another bomb devastated Nagasaki. On August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered, ending World War II. The world, exhausted and scarred, began the long process of rebuilding. Section 7. Rebuilding from the ashes, the aftermath. The world emerged from the war a vastly different place. Millions lay dead, cities lay in ruins, economies were shattered. The physical and emotional scars of conflict ran deep. In the aftermath of such devastation, the international community grappled with the task of rebuilding a shattered world. The United Nations was formed, founded on the ashes of the League of Nations, with the goal of preventing future conflicts and fostering international cooperation. But the fragile peace was soon overshadowed by the emergence of a new rivalry. The Cold War, a geopolitical standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union, cast a long shadow over the second half of the 20th century. Despite the challenges, there was also a sense of hope. The war had demonstrated the terrible consequences of unchecked aggression and the importance of international cooperation. Section 8. Echoes of War, their lasting impact. The echoes of World War II reverberate to this day. The conflict reshaped the geopolitical landscape, leading to the rise of superpowers, the decline of European colonialism, and the creation of new international institutions. The war also had a profound impact on technology, medicine, and culture. Innovations made during the war, from radar to penicillin, transformed civilian life. The war's legacy is present in our art, literature, and music, serving as a constant reminder of the human capacity for both good and evil. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of World War II is the lessons it taught us about the human condition. The dangers of intolerance, the importance of standing up for what is right, and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome even the darkest of times. Section 9. Lest we forget, a call for peace. As we look back on the horrors of World War II, we must never forget the sacrifices made to secure peace. The millions who perished, the countless lives forever changed, demand that we learn from the mistakes of the past. World War II stands as a stark reminder that peace is not a given. It is a precious gift that must be nurtured and protected. We must remain vigilant against the forces of hatred, intolerance, and aggression that can so easily lead us down the path to conflict. Let us honor the memory of those who perished by striving for a world free from the scourge of war. A world where diplomacy triumphs over violence, where cooperation conquers division, where peace reigns supreme. Only then can we truly say that we have learned the lessons of World War II.